Good afternoon. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive. Welcome to our Westchester Weekly Update. This is Monday, June 12th. We have a long program for you to take a look at. It'll give you an idea of some of the issues that are happening in Westchester County. This week, our municipal partner that's visiting with us is the mayor of the village of Larchmont, Sarah Bauer, and she'll talk a little bit about that community and what's happening in Larchmont. Wonderful community on the Sound Shore. I've had the pleasure of representing it in other positions for over 30 years, and it is really a great place to know if you haven't visited it before. Every week we try to have a different village mayor, city mayor, or town supervisor join us. So today we'll learn a little bit more about Larchmont. We also have our commissioner of the Department of Emergency Services, Rich Wishney, and his deputy commissioner, Susan Spear, are going to join us to talk about the HEROES program, HERRO. We announced this a little over a year ago. It's now in its second iteration, and it's a way that we're trying to provide some assistance so that some of our volunteer individuals in emergency services in the fire department have a bit of an incentive and a bit of assistance in their volunteer service for us. We rely on so many of these volunteer groups around the county, and this program is a way to try to help make that volunteer feel a bit special and benefited by their efforts. And then we're going to have our Director of Tourism and Film, Natasha Caputo, join us with our Director of Veteran Services, Ron Tochi, to talk about a very exciting event that's coming up on Friday, July 21st, I hope I have it right, at the Westchester County Center. It's been reopened now. We've used it for basketball and WWF competitions, and so now we're going to have a big concert honoring our veterans, those who've served in military service, and Ron and Natasha will tell you all about that. In a few seconds, I'll be joined by Ken Jenkins, our Deputy County Executive. We'll go over where we are with parks activities throughout the course of time. We'll mention our free buses in some greater detail, and we'll give you an update on the migrants' placements here in Westchester County. So let me start first with our municipal partner. Sarah Bauer is the mayor of the village of Larchmont, elected to her first term. She'd served previously on the village board of trustees as a trustee, and now as mayor she has some dynamic plans for the village. And the village has made a lot of improvements in a lot of different ways. I'm not going to steal her thunder, so let me just introduce her and let her talk to you. The mayor of the village of Larchmont, Sarah Bauer. Madam Mayor, thank you for being with us here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
So I just want to thank the county executive for having me here today. This is my first county press conference. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the fantastic things we have going on over the summer and into the fall in the village. Following the renovation of Constitution Park, which is our park right next to Village Hall, we have had some fantastic events. In early June, we had an all-day music festival going on there, and we're going to continue that throughout the summer. So every Thursday night, starting at the end of June, going through early August, we'll be doing music in the park and having different concerts and different artists with us. And then following that into the fall, in September on the 23rd, we have our Larchmont Day Festival, which is always an amazing day where we have games for the kids and food, and it's just a huge amount of family fun, music as well. And then into the following week on September 30th, we also have our Arts Festival, which is supported by our Arts Committee, and it's our 20th anniversary, so they will be inviting back all of the artists that have been featured over the past 20 years. So that should really be a very special event. So hopefully we'll see you at some of these. And information can be found on the village website, which is villageoflarchmont.org. And I'm thrilled to report that we are at the finish line for our new revamped website, which should hopefully be up and running very soon. It will make things much easier to find and be more functional than the old one. And then next, for a small village, we do have quite a few parks. We're very lucky with all of the parks that we have. We've just finished the renovation of Constitution Park. We added a brand new accessible playground in Flint Park. And now we've turned our focus to Turtle Park. Now we're turning our focus to Flint Park in conjunction with the Flint Park Conservancy. And they have done an amazing job. We have just finished up the Phase 1 plans. We will be adding a brand new accessible playground in that park this summer. We will upgrading the basketball courts, and for anybody whose kids play sports, you may have played some games on our sports fields. We are really working hard to improve our sports fields. And thank you to the county and their generosity helping us with funding for replacing our turf field, which is close to the end of its life. So all of those changes should be amazing and fantastic. And we are also adding a fully functioning cafe. So for anybody who has to come watch some sports events or wants to enjoy our park, will be able to get a snack, have a treat while you sit there and watch what's going on. So we're very, very excited about this. We're very lucky to have all this going on. And again, I want to say a special thank you to the Flint Park Conservancy for all of the time and energy that they've put into this and helping us really make this park everything that it could be. And then lastly, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to our former fire chief, John Caparelli, who served as our fire chief who served in our fire department for over 30 years in the village. So thank you to John for his many, many years of service. We are so grateful for everything that you've given to the village. And I want to welcome our new fire chief, Richie Valentine. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, George.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Much.
Thank you for having me.
Mayor of the Village of Larchmont, Sarah Bauer, and it's been a pleasure, Sarah, to work with you in the village over an extended period of time. We've seen a lot of the changes and improvements in the Village of Larchmont. For those of you who are familiar with the river towns, you see Hastings, Dobbs Ferry, Irvington, Tarrytown, Sleepy Hollow stretching along the river. They're relatively small, compact, small towns. And over on the Sound Shore, you have the same reality between places like Larchmont, Village of Mamaroneck, City of Rye. Similar situation, really beautiful setting. Manor Park, which he alluded to, sits right out on the Long Island Sound. July 4th, that's still over a month away. They always have the Dixie Dandies play in the early part of the evening before the fireworks go off. And it's a wonderful little slice of Americana, and we're very happy that you're here with us and our friends in Larchmont as well. Sarah Bauer, Mayor of the Village of Larchmont. Now, Sarah mentioned that on Thursday nights, Larchmont Village will have a summer concert series at Constitution Park. Every community in Westchester County has a plan for summer concerts. In fact, you could spend literally 7 nights of the week going from one community to the next and catching a free summer concert. On Monday nights, Mamaroneck Town and Pelham will be up at Operative. On Tuesday nights, it's at Rytown Park and other places. And Thursday nights, we have them in Scarsdale, right downtown at Chase Park. It's a lovely setting. And that's the traditional band concert, something like out of Meredith Willson, a Music Man type of environment. But you have all different kinds of performances. So look for that in your community and in the communities around, adjacent communities. Many of them are in waterfront settings. Some of those river towns that I've mentioned have those summer concerts right down on the water. It's really terrific. And you can get through from late June all the way into the early part of August with a great degree of enjoyment. Let me mention one other thing that's happening on a Thursday night. This may not be the way you want to spend your night, but I'll be giving the State of the County message on Thursday, June 29th at 6 p.m. It's coming in the middle of the year, so I've had a chance to see what the State of the County is for 6 months before I report on it. Usually these types of reports come early in the year, State of the Union, State of the State. But in this case, there have been a lot of different things that have happened. We're halfway through our budget year now as we approach the end of June to the beginning of July. And so I'll try to give a report. That report goes to the Westchester County Board of Legislators. All of these addresses is the executive branch addressing the legislature, but it's covered in the press, it's covered on local television and so forth, so that individuals can get an idea of what it is that we see as the status of Westchester today. What are our challenges? What are the accomplishments? What are the things we hope to do? So that's coming up on Thursday, June 29th. Next, we'll go to two of our key people that are responsible for our Department of Emergency Services. We have many departments in county government that provide a variety of different services. Some of them are out front where you can see them. If you speed on one of our parkways, you will meet the representatives of the county police, the Department of Public Safety with the bubble gum going on in the background. More likely, you'll go to one of our beautiful parks and see our Department of Parks, Recreation, and Conservation at work. Some of the things we do, though, are a little bit invisible, and emergency services falls into that category. You might see the local firefighter that puts out a fire in your community. What you don't see is the regional training that's provided by the Department of Emergency Services in training those firefighters. We have a facility that they can practice rappelling out of a window. In fact, our deputy commissioner actually did that herself, and I was duly impressed by her going through an element of the training that firefighters have to go through. So many other things that involve that responsibility. And they work and interact with both the professional fire departments and the volunteer fire departments. The EMS departments are all across the board. So Richard Wishney, who's the commissioner of the department, he and I served together on the Board of Legislators a number of years ago. He's a former town supervisor in Ossining, so he's well schooled in government. And in managing this department, he has a very good sense of what it is that we have to do in order to retain those people who are in those departments that are volunteer departments. And so he, along with the deputy commissioner, Susan Spear, who was here in our executive chamber and has moved on to a deputy commissionership, came up with a very innovative program. Sometimes we get credit in elective office for things that we didn't think of ourselves. We implement them, but it's really the brainchild of people who are very smart and have thought about these things. So I want Richard and Susan to come and tell us about where we are with the upcoming round of programs for the HERO program. That's an acronym. They'll explain it to you now. Commissioner Richard Wishney, Deputy Commissioner Susan Spear.
Thank you, sir.
Rich, good to see you.
Always good to see you.
Susan, thanks.
The county executive pretty well explained the program and the concerns that we have here in Westchester County. About 70% of the firefighters here in the county are volunteers. And historically, since the 1800s, the volunteers have really stepped up to the plate. Unfortunately, over the last few years, there's been a tremendous downturn in the number of volunteers that we have in firefighting and in EMS services. The county executive has been really concerned about that. Any chief elected officer of any community, their most important priority is the health and safety of the people we serve. And he asked us during the budget negotiations a couple of years ago to see if we could come up with a plan. And my deputy, Susan Spear, who you're going to hear from now, came up with an ingenious idea about trying to get more volunteers to step up to the plate, recruit and retain. And that was the key to what Susan came up with. So without further ado, I'll let Susan explain that all to you. Susan?
Just a little ado to get my stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Commissioner Wishney, County Executive Latimer, Deputy County Executive Ken Jenkins, and I also want to thank Director Joan McDonald and the Board of Legislators for supporting the HERO program and providing opportunities for local volunteers. The Higher Education, Recruitment, and Retention Opportunities, HERRO program, offers up to $6,000 per year in tuition or student loan reimbursements in exchange for a year of volunteer service with your local fire department or EMS agency. The idea behind this program is really to address two problems in society right now, one being the high cost of higher education, and the second being the challenges recruiting volunteers to the fire and EMS service. So the program is designed to address both of those issues. Last year, the HERO program supported 132 local volunteers, and now, in its second year, we have already supported 57 applicants. So we're really excited about the impact that this program is having. Today, we are announcing that we are extending the deadline for the spring semester application period to July 28th. In addition, our department will be holding office hours every Tuesday and Thursday from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. or by appointment to assist applicants in filling out their application. A notary will be available on site, so sometimes that's a challenge for people, so we're trying to overcome that challenge. I really want to take a moment to thank our DES administrative staff for all the work that they do to make this program successful. They are behind the scenes processing all these applications and making sure to get checks in the hands of volunteers as quickly as possible. So we thank them. Today we're also going to be releasing a video which has film clips of some of our applicants and eligible recipients, and it tells their story about how the program helped them continue with their higher education while also being able to maintain their volunteer status at their local fire or EMS agency. So that video will be available this afternoon, and we hope that it inspires you to volunteer in your local community. Your community really needs you. Thank you.
Mr. County Executive, I also wanted to just let you know that This program was so successful that Rockland County called over to see if they could use our program. And so that all goes to the credit of Susan Spear, our Deputy Commissioner. Great work. Thank you, Susan.
Well, thank you both, Richard Wishney and Susan Spear, the Commissioner and the Deputy Commissioner of our Department of Emergency Services. And both Richard and Susan, we owe a debt of gratitude to you, and then all the other folks who work in that department. They really do a diverse number of different tasks, from dispatch and all the way on down the line. But thank you again, and thank you for highlighting the program. We're very happy to try innovative things, and I must say that sometimes when you try something innovative, you're not sure that it's going to work. You believe it can work, and that's why you try to do that. But in that process, that would be as helpful as possible. I next want to invite two of our key people to join us at the podium. Natasha Caputo is our Director of Film and Tourism, and we also have with us Ron Tochi, who's our Director of Veteran Services. They've collaborated on a major project. They each have their own responsibilities and do a very good job satisfying both the veterans community and the tourism and the film community. But in this case, they're working together for a big event that's coming up. We want you to mark this on your calendars. This is a not-to-be-missed event, and I'll let them tell you all about it. Natasha Caputo, Ron Tochi, please.
I want to thank the county executive for being a major part of what we're going to present to everyone. As most of you understand, Westchester County has a very, very rich military heritage going back to the Revolutionary War. And there are still with us probably 40 or 45,000 veterans that are still, active. And at the same time, the county executive was very, very anxious to become a part of an initiative that we started to honor the veterans that are left here in the county, and especially those that were Legion, American Legion members. The American Legion was formed right after World War I, and it had become the premier, largest membership, biggest activist for veterans in the country. It still is. A lot of the membership is declining because of people that are passing away, World War II, Korea, and even Vietnam vets right now. And we're trying to encourage the younger people that are serving to become part of the Legion. But anyway, I mentioned to the county executive, this was over 100 years that the American Legion has been in existence. They have a convention statewide every year, and this is the first time ever that we were able to offer them Westchester County as a host. And what that meant was they would come to Westchester County. When the county executive understood that, he wanted to be a major part of paying tribute to all these people who served our nation. So with Natasha, we were able to gather the resources of the county and put together a program where we will honor the American Legion. They will have their convention here in White Plains at 2 or 3 hotels. And at the same time, on the last night of the convention, we're going to have a concert at the Westchester County Center on the 21st, and we have top entertainment acts that will come in from Las Vegas, and we'll pay tribute to all these people. And it's a way of expressing our appreciation and thank you. You've often heard the expression that every day should be Veterans Day, and we don't do enough for our veterans. Well, I'm proud to say that with County Executive Latimer's support, our Department of Veteran Services has become premier in the state of New York. We take second to nobody. And we process claims, and we do all things for military families that other communities don't have the resources or just don't know how to do it. So we are very, very proud of the fact that this county is showing a lot of respect, admiration, and appreciation. But this is a special thank you. For all the services we do, that's great, but this is a special event, and it's, as the county executive suggested, something you won't want to miss. I think it'll be emotional, and at the same time, we're also looking to make money, and the money we spend will be for service dogs for veterans who are amputees and so on. So it's a special event, and at the same time, if you can, young people especially, help us sell tickets. Tickets are on a first-come, first-served basis. We're doing what we can to discount tickets for veterans, but at the same time, we do want to make enough money so we can provide services that go on. So I'm going to let Natasha explain to you exactly what our ticket situation is right now. Natasha.
Thank you. Thank you. Ron, I think you should really, because Ron personally contacted a lot of celebrities. So why don't you tell us about
first of
who
all,
he's brought in?
Just so everyone understands, this started about 4 years ago when Natasha and I had a conversation, and it carried on, and it wouldn't have been except for the county executive saying, I want to be a major part of this. I think the county should. Our people want to show appreciation, and this is why we're here. But our top billing is going to be, for those of you that don't understand, Tony Orlando was a very, very popular singer back in the days. And you've all heard this song, Tie a Yellow Ribbon. He was the singer that played that. We have people that like the Drifters, who was a group that was also of rock and roll fame that, proceeded on. We have Jay and the Americans, appropriate name for a freedom concert, which we're sponsoring. And I really believe that you're going to find that even if you don't remember the names, you're going to recognize a lot of the songs that you hear. And if you come, I know you'll have fun and you'll enjoy it. I only wish that a lot of young people can hear a lot of the new entertainment or a lot of the old entertainment. And I think that they'd find it is refreshing. Pop is one thing, rock is another thing, but a lot of the old songs really make a big difference, bring back a lot of memories. They're nostalgic, and at the same time, I think that they're a lot of fun. So you have, go ahead, finish.
Great.
Up,
Hello. Again, I'm Natasha Caputo, Director of Tourism and Film, and just following up what Ron and his service is, with the support of the county executive and the entire leadership team, it is our honor to welcome the 105th Annual American Legion New York State Convention to Westchester County. I mean, this is really the opportunity to highly value our veterans and the contributions made. But most exciting is to take part and join in on this celebration at the Freedom Concert at the County Center. The County Center is back. It is open. It is situated in White Plains. You can make a whole day out of it here in White Plains. Enjoy the many dining options on Mamaroneck Avenue. Visit Westchester County. Bring your friends and family. Bring those in your families who have served and helped us make this a really genuine opportunity and memorable experience. And I also just want to add that it is oldies music, but I did a little research, and it is that dance moves of the 50s is very popular on TikTok. So this is an opportunity to trend. So do your dance, come and make it a big group outing here in Westchester County. Again, for our visitors and our residents alike to join together for amazing entertainment and highlight the summer and just make it the most memorable experience here in Westchester County. And so July 21st. Tickets are available on countycenter.biz or Ticketmaster. Doors open at 6 p.m. The show begins at 7 p.m. It's your best Americana outfits. And I'm just going to do the complete rundown. It's Just Nuts, The Chiclets, Tony Orlando. We're going to do a little intermission. The Drifters, Dennis Tufano, Bobby Wilson, and Jay and the Americans. That is some roundup. That is really, we're going to have to get a lot of good rest and party there in celebration. So, Freedom Concert at the County Center, July 21st. Please get your tickets now, and that is at countycenter.biz or ticketmaster.com.
Thanks, Natasha.
Did I miss anything?
No. I think it's appropriate for them to understand, too. These songs or these entertainers were really designated as being special because a lot of the people that served in the military at that time, they grew up with all this kind of music, so it's appropriate. But for those of you, how many of you know Chuck Berry? Have you ever heard of Chuck Berry? Back to the Future, did any of you ever see that movie? Well, the guitarist, that was taken out of Chuck Berry time. Quick story, you'll get a kick. George would appreciate this. We were at the Syracuse State Fair, and the night before I got there, Britney Spears was supposed to perform. And what happened was the plane couldn't get in because of weather or whatever, and they had to bring in a substitute. So I got there the day after, and I went to the concert, which was Frank Sinatra Jr. at the time, not as exciting as Britney. But at the same time, there was a young fella, 12 years old, behind me. And he's telling me about what happened. Everybody was disappointed. Britney couldn't come. They had to bring a substitute in. I said, well, what happened? Oh, he was really great, this guy. He was a black guy, and he played, and he danced, and he did everything. I said, did you enjoy it? He said, yeah, he had the place rocking. Everybody loved him. He said, that guy's going to be a superstar. And I said, well, who was that? Oh, some guy by the name of Berry. It was Chuck Berry. They didn't know about him, but they knew they liked the music. And I promise you, you'll like this one, too, if you come. Anyway, George, special thank you to you for letting us.
We're happy that you guys could do this. Natasha, thank you. Thank you. Ron, thank you very much for your leadership in all of these things. Ron Tochi and Natasha Caputo, consummate professionals in their respective fields of veterans affairs and tourism. And I must tell you, we have some folks in the room who are interning with us, and they're of a certain age that would be considered different than the age that I am. And so I had the opportunity, we were going through the lineup of groups, and Ron was telling me, oh, there's going to be Jane Americans. And I said, oh, man, Let's Lock the Door, Throw Away the Key, Only in America. I know the songs, The Drifters, Under the Boardwalk, Up on the Roof, and Tony Orlando and Dawn, Knock 3 Times. And then I shared some of that enthusiasm with those on my executive team that are under the age of 40, and a couple are under the age of 30. They looked at me like a blank stare. And even when you're mentioning Britney Spears, she's old too now. I mean, she's yesterday's news. So you got to stay with whoever the current person is. I looked at the Billboard 100 chart. I knew 2 names on the list. I'm embarrassed. But I know every note of every song of songs from the 60s and 70s and 80s. So time marches on. But we're happy to have this concert to honor our veterans, those who have served us so well. And I want to highlight just for a second that there's always a mindset that sometimes we don't show patriotism, that patriotism is out of style. And when we talk about doing certain policies and programs, people don't necessarily associate that with Americanism and patriotism. But this government recently just had a wonderful Memorial Day service at Lasden Park. And as soon as we had that honoring our veterans where we have our Memorial Hall of Fame, I saw Ron 2 hours after that at an event in Mount Pleasant. We saw each other over the course of the weekend. We have just recognized D-Day last week, the longest day, June 6th, in which brave American boys alongside of British and Canadian and others around the world liberated Europe from the clutches of Hitler. June 14th is coming up this week. That's Flag Day, and that's a very important day. There are events that tie into Flag Day. We honor Gold Mothers in the fall for those women who have lost a child during military service. So all of these things represent our respect as a government to those who have served this nation and those who have sacrificed and those who've served by sacrificing. As I said to a good friend of mine, if you spent 13 weeks going through basic training, you made a sacrifice for America. I don't care if you were peeling potatoes in the KP. After that, you made a sacrifice and by serving your country. So we try to recognize that sacrifice at all times. Ron and his team, Dan Griffin and the rest of the folks, do that on a regular basis, and we're very happy that this concert is one other way to be able to show that back. And frankly, to show off the renovated county center. We think it's important for everybody to realize it's back in business. How much better it is to get, X number of people, hundreds, thousands, whatever we can get in that room that day. So put it on your calendar, Friday, July 21st, 6 p.m. doors open, 7 p.m. I guess we get rolling, and the joint will be rocking. So hopefully you'll all be part of that. Anyway, I'm joined by Ken Jenkins as we go through some of the other announcements that we want to cover. A few minutes ago, when we had our chief executives from the Department of Environmental Services with us here, it was probably Emergency Services, not Environmental Services, Department of Emergency Services. I failed to recognize them for their work in helping us through the air quality crisis that we had in the middle of last week. We don't know if that issue is fully behind us or if it will continue to resurface because the Canadian wildfires are not yet under full control. And depending on the wind conditions and the atmospheric conditions, we may yet have days of bad air quality coming up. But DES, which is the acronym for the department, made a tremendous effort right off the bat to get masks out, KN95 masks, to 21 municipalities and various county departments through local fire departments to make sure those masks were distributed so that people, whether they were compromised breathing systems or just everyday people that didn't want to breathe in those particulates, that we were able to get get those masks out to people. Some of them still have it from the COVID crisis, which is sort of receded from view. But for those that didn't, we made a point of doing that, and we intend to be prepared to do that at a moment's notice should we continue to have some days of bad air quality. We have to assume it is still possible. We're really in the beginning of this season as we go from now just in the middle of June all the way through the months in August and October. So we have work ahead of us, but I want to compliment our Department of Emergency Services for their work in distributing those masks as part of our response to the Canadian wildfire. Next, we want to highlight, we had a press conference on this last week, but we've announced that the Beeline bus system will be free of fares beginning the 1st of July, which is a Saturday, July 1st, and will remain fare-free until the Monday of Labor Day, which is September 4th. So all of July, all of August, and that first weekend of September, you can ride a Beeline bus anywhere in Westchester County without fare. And we think that's going to be helpful for the people that use the system, and people who don't normally use the system have a free alternative, depending on where you start out and where you're going, that might make a difference for you. The Beeline bus system connects some of our major parks and facilities, Playland and Glen Island, and some of the other pools are easily accessible in the bus system. The bus system connects to the New York City subway system at a couple of different locations. It also gets you to the different Metro North commuter rail stations, and that may not be that you're just commuting to work every day. You may want to spend a day in the city, and in doing that, you can get on a Beeline bus for free to take you to the Metro North station, and the train will take you into Grand Central. So we're very happy to be able to do that. I would point out it is not a decision that we made lightly, and with Joan McDonald, Emily Saltzman, Andrew Ferris, Steve Bass, Ellen Hendricks, John Nona, Catherine Chaffee, all that executive team, we looked at the economic impact of doing this, and there is an economic impact. There's a certain amount of lost revenue by not charging at the fare box. However, we also received aid from the New York State legislative budget, which we appreciate our senators and assembly members going to bat for us to getting more state transit operating aid, STOA aid. And that additional money helps offset the cost of providing free buses. And part of STOA aid is intended to make it easier for people to use the bus system. So we saw last year we had a 37% increase in ridership when we suspended fares for the summer. And of course, we did it later in the year last year around Thanksgiving and Christmas. We haven't decided yet if we're able to do that. A lot of that does depend on finances. But if we can responsibly afford it, we're not raising taxes to do it. So hopefully that will give people an opportunity to save a few dollars in their pocket, maybe reintroduce the system for some people that haven't tried it. They didn't get a chance to do it last summer. They can do it this summer, and provide a benefit for those people that do use the system for the months of July, August, and that Labor Day weekend. So we want to highlight that. You know, there's discussion going on in New York City about trying to provide some fare-free opportunities for some of the New York City bus system. It's a huge system, and making it fare-free in New York City is at a completely different magnitude than in Westchester County. But the point is that we've done it. This is the second year we've done it, and we think this is the right thing to do, and we hope that, depending on economics, that we can continue to do it. We'll see what happens in the future. But I think this is a commitment, our testament to trying to help people who work, live, and play in this county, and that they can do so using public transit. Many places don't have public transit at all, and it's on your own back. So hopefully that's a good positive statement. Next, Ken has become very much attached to giving us the update on what's happening in our park system. We have an elaborate system of parks, 55 parks around the county of all different natures. There's a long list of things we're working on. I'll let Ken edit as he sees fit, but give us an update, Ken, on the different parks events coming up.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, George. And certainly to echo with County Executive Latimer was just speaking of, with our nationally accredited, award-winning park system, over 50 different facilities, some places that a lot of us didn't even know existed around Westchester County, over 18,000 acres of parkland that belong to Westchester County. There's so many tremendous activities. The PRC, Parks, Recreation, and Conservation folks love to say that this is their time of the year. School is ending. There's camps processes that are going to happen, but there are so many tremendous opportunities in our park system. And again, it's your park system. County Executive will always make sure to recognize it is your investment that we are having to be in charge of right now and steward to make sure that that the investments are there. So coming up this Saturday at Hilltop Hanover Farm and Environmental Center is the pumpkin planting workshop. So again, you think about, it's like, wait, why are we talking about October right now in the pumpkin season for Halloween? Well, guess what? They get planted right now. So this is an opportunity for a hands-on demonstration and workshop where the farm manager is going to take you through steps of pumpkin patch, of planning and actually planting your pumpkin patch for the season ahead. So you got to handle those little sprouts with care and make sure to get them out to the fields, etc., so that you can have one of those award-winning pumpkins at the end of the year, which some folks absolutely love to do. So it is a certain activity at Hilltop Hanover Farm. It is obviously on the screen at hilltophanoverfarm.org/events. That one has a cost for per person, $40 for a family or $20 per person. But again, at the end of the day, you're going to have some pumpkin seeds and patches that you can move forward with and be able to plant and move forward. Saturday and Sunday, June 17th and 18th, our beaches are open as they have been from Memorial Day weekend. Glen Island Beach in New Rochelle and Croton Point Beach in Croton Point Park. Those are going to be open weekends and holidays right up till Friday, June 23rd, when it's going to be open every day, weather permitting, through September 4th. Obviously, you can get on the free Beeline bus starting July 1st, right through September 4th, Labor Day weekend, weather permitting, no admittance after 6 p.m. And if you decide to drive, which you shouldn't, you should jump on that free Beeline bus starting July 1st. Parking fees do apply. You have to have proof of Westchester County residency at Glen Island, and there are no pets allowed during the season. In the winter, we all know that we have our pets and our furry friends that could be with us on the beaches, but that is after the season is over. Sunday, June 18th, beginning at 8 a.m., and then every Sunday until July 30th, Fitness in the Parks. This is a brand new Parks Recreation and Conservation program. It's going to be at Tibbetts Brook Park in Yonkers, led by Gina Lee, who is a certified personal group fitness trainer. And all these sessions are going to end with a brisk walk in the park. It's a free 8-week program. So again, the new fitness area that we have, which has those 7 pieces of state-of-the-art equipment that are out in the park that you can utilize. We can have 16 users at a time on that equipment, but also be able to take that nice walk through all of the renovations that we have had at Tibbetts Brook Park. It's going to be a great opportunity. It's, again, free admission, free parking, ages 16 and up, no registration required. Just come on out and be able to participate. It's been made possible by generous donations from Kohl's, Blithedale Children's Hospital's Eat Well, Be Well program, and Greenfield, who has the equipment, in partnership with the Parks Department, Health Department, and the Department of Public Works and Transportation. Again, that's a free program that's going to be from June 18th at 8 a.m. and every Sunday until July 30th. No session on July 2nd, because that's the 4th of July weekend, when many of our park activities, we hold off for them just for that particular weekend. Every Sunday at Muscoot Farm, we have the farmers market, and you never know when you see the county executive shopping at the Muscoot Farm in Somers. He actually goes to almost every farmers market that there is, some that we make up on their own, but the reality is those farmer markets give a great opportunity for the local farmers and local producers to be able to show their wares and to be able to get some really healthy things, so that when you're in the park, you have the great nutrition value that you have from the farmers market that you'll be able to have. And that's going to be in Somers on June 18th at Muscoot Farms, 9:30 to 2:30 p.m. and every Sunday right until the middle of November, November 19th. So again, it's a great opportunity to do that. And finally, we have our Bicycle Sundays that are continuing on. This Sunday from 10 until 2 on the beautiful Bronx River Reservation on the Bronx River Parkway from Yonkers at Scarsdale Road to White Plains just at Main Street. You can bike, jog, ride, or walk, or even skate the parkway from the Westchester County Center in White Plains to Scarsdale Road in Yonkers. And this has been a tradition in Westchester County since 1974. More than 60,000 participants every year bike, walk, and jog a 13.1 mile loop. And we just announced this last week that you're going to go right through July as well. So we got some additional days in. At first, we were going to stop at the end of June, but we're going to go right through July, except for July 2nd. But again, 4 Sundays in July for people to participate on Bicycle Sunday. It has been tremendous. And since the pandemic, more people have discovered that Bicycle Sunday is a great opportunity to be out there with all. So once again, I'm going to turn this back to the county executive. We have so many things happening in our nationally accredited award-winning park system, and it's your opportunity to take advantage of the things in your park system. George.
Thanks. Thank you, Ken. And Ken will be back in a second to touch on something that we have to announce with our corrections department. Let me highlight a couple of other things that are worth mentioning. We have a special dedication coming up this Friday, June 16th at 11 a.m. We will be naming the county office building that is located in the city of Mount Vernon. It's at the intersection of South First Avenue and East First Street. For many years, that building was sort of a triangular building. It was on the corner known as the Con Edison building because Con Edison had their operations out of there for many, many years before they moved elsewhere in the county. And that building was obtained by Westchester County and operates a number of departments out of it. We have senior services and programs out of that building. We have a DSS office, some transportation offices. But on Friday morning, June 16th, this coming Friday at 11 o'clock, we're going to rename the building in honor of Reginald A. Lafayette. Reggie was a longtime Mount Vernon resident. He was active in the community. He was a deputy city controller, served as the city clerk of Mount Vernon for many years, also then came up to Westchester County where he served for over 2 decades as a commissioner in the Board of Elections, and he was very active as well in the Democratic Party. But his service to the community was really exemplary over a long period of time. Reggie was a personal friend of mine. We were young men together. We even, one summer, managed and co-managed a Little League baseball team, minor league baseball team in the city of Mount Vernon back in the 1970s. So we got to know each other over a long period of time. Our careers intertwined in different ways, and of course his responsibilities here were significant. We lost him a year ago, January, and it was a sudden passage, and all of us who knew him were very moved by that, and we wanted to give a tribute to him that was fitting. This is the first building to be named for an African American in Westchester County government history. We have other facilities named, and in this particular case, Reggie deserves this honor. So we will be there at the corner of First and First to recognize the life and times of Reggie Lafayette as we name this building in his honor and his recognition. And you're welcome to attend. It's open to the public. We expect to have a good turnout of people from the Mount Vernon community there, but it's open to anybody around the county. And just as we did last week with John Carey, a former councilman, mayor, and judge based in Rye, where we named a street after him, we want to honor and recognize those who served us so well over the years. We have some plans to recognize a couple of my predecessors as county executives, the late Andrew O'Rourke and former county executive Andy Spano. We have some plans to do that. We'll announce those in due time. But at this point, this is an honor for Reggie Lafayette, which we think is very important. Now, there's some other additional information I need to get from Joe Scamato so that we can cover some additional ground. So I'm going to ask him if he would just to circle around so that we can hit a couple of additional things that's on this. We want to highlight that there's a great success story in Westchester County, and that is the Pace Women's Lacrosse team, which has won a national championship, NCAA championship. They were number 3 ranked, and they finished their career by winning and defeating the number 1 ranked college. Now, interestingly enough, the number 1 ranked college comes out of Pennsylvania. It's the Westchester University. And they beat them 19-9 on Sunday. How appropriate for Pace to win the championship by beating Westchester. But they scored 19 goals. This is the most ever scored in a Division II women's lacrosse championship game. And the Pace Setters, that's their nickname, the Setters, are the first NCAA collegiate team in Westchester County to win a national championship of any sort. Division I, Division II, doesn't matter, men's, women's, whatever the sport is. This is really a phenomenal result. They were 21-2 as their season records. They won 17 games against ranked opponents. Just really outstanding stuff. New York Mets, take a note out of this page. They've done an outstanding job. We want to extend that success and recognition from Westchester County government. It's really a great accomplishment, and we're very happy about that. I'm going to ask Ken to come back in to talk about a Department of Corrections program that's in effect, and then also to touch on some of our heritage festivals, which are on the list, and then I'll wrap it up giving you an update on the migrant issue. Ken.
Thanks, George. Our Westchester County Department of Correction has been a leader in so many different ways, and our Commissioner Joe Spano and his entire team that's over there, Nori Padilla, and all of our deputies that are over there right now do a tremendous job of making sure that we are staying ahead of the game. And in this case, they have implemented a state-of-the-art weapons detection system. Now, that is just to make sure that we have another layer of security at our jail complex. The Westchester Department of Correction has started using this very sophisticated weapons detection system at its main civilian entrance. So again, you're saying, well, it's not for the detainees or the residents that are there. This is for the folks that come in that are visiting to ensure that everyone stays safe and secure. So this Motorola Solutions Evolve system is calibrated and designed to detect certain weapons and explosives and to ignore such common items as keys and cell phones and belt buckles and other metallic items. We have all gone through this experience when the county executive and our team is going up to Albany through their system. That means you take off everything. You take off belts, you take wallets, coins, etc. out, and feels like you have to get redressed when you go through that. Well, again, for those folks that are visiting and supporting those folks that are in our correction facility, this is another way of making sure that people stay safe, but to make sure that we're not inconveniencing folks that way. So anybody that enters through the main entrance, which is called Post 1, will be required to pass and clear through this new Evolve CWD system prior to being granted any access on the WDRC, our Department of Correction grounds. So we want to make sure that everyone understands that this new system is happening and it's considered safe for use on all individuals, but anyone that has safety concerns should bring that to the attention of those staff members that are on duty to ensure that they feel protected. I know that certain family members have had modifications in surgeries like hip replacements and knee replacements, etc., and they dread going through metal detectors because they're going to go off all the time. So make sure you bring those to those folks' attention that are monitoring there at our Westchester Department of Correction. Switching back to all of the festivals that we have, our heritage festivals, and the county executive is definitely going to wrap up and talk with about the migrant crisis and our asylum seekers. But we have made a point, and county executive, myself, and all of our team has been able to go out to the various heritage festivals that we've had so far. Because again, it's so important for here in Westchester County and this particular time that the county executive says, and we all love to repeat, Westchester starts with we, and that's how we make sure that everyone is respected and recognized. And these cultural festivals give us the opportunity to recognize the similarities between the cultures and celebrate the differences. And we celebrated a few different ones already. I'm looking forward to the next ones that are coming up. African American Heritage is going to be on June 25th. That's Sunday, June 25th at Kensico Dam, noon to 6. Followed directly after July 9th, so right after the 4th of July festivities, that we will have Hispanic Heritage, which is Sunday, July 9th. That is the largest Heritage Day Festival, July 9th from 12 to 6. And followed the following week by our friends with Irish American Heritage, as the county executive points out for himself and his family, and all of us that are also Irish at heart, July 16th. So we'll continue to talk that, and then followed by the other half of the county executive's heritage, mine too, because, you know, being from Sicily, those are just strong African swimmers. That's our Italian Heritage Festival. I think a smile if you got that one, right? Our Italian Heritage Festival, which will be on July 23rd. These festivals, again, are so important for all of us in Westchester County and all of our surrounding areas to show, again, what we do here in Westchester County and in these United States is recognize and support all of our migrant communities, all of our heritages, and we want to continue to celebrate each and every one. Back to you, George.
Thank you, Ken. Well, it's been a long report, and I know that very few people We want to stay through all of it. I do want to highlight where we are right now with the migrant placements in Westchester County. It obviously is a very controversial issue. People have very strong feelings about it either way. I highlight, though, that no local government, no city, town, village, or county has the ability to impact these issues. The decisions are made at the federal government level. Governor of Texas has determined that he is able to bus people out of Texas. That has been determined to be legal. When they arrive in New York City, they become New York City's responsibilities, and New York City is at a point at which they have no further capacity. So they've reached out on their own to make arrangements at different locations to house some of these migrants. Westchester County has 3 locations right now where there are migrants. The one that has been in effect the longest period of time is in the city of Yonkers at the Ramada facility. This is managed by Westhab in a contract with New York City, and in that location we have 60 rooms that have been allocated for migrant families. 98 adults, 54 children are placed at that location at the present time. We have 2 other placements that have come in the last week to 10 days. The Central Motel Courtyard in White Plains on Central Avenue, right on the White Plains-Greenburgh border. There we have 13 rooms occupied. That is managed by a company out of New York City called Doc Go. And in that location, there are 28 children and 28 adults, 14 children, for a total of 42 people. And then most recently, over the weekend, also managed by Doc Go, there are 25 rooms that have been occupied at Ardsley Acres Motel in the village of Ardsley, and that involves 51 adults and 4 children for a total of 55 total individuals. When you add up the total number of people that are here, you're about 250 individuals that are housed here. I made mention in past that in 2018, we had over 1,000 children housed in Westchester County in 4 different locations. At this point, we're about 250 people in 3 locations, and that placement in 2018 came from the federal government under the Trump administration. These placements have come via the governor of Texas to the mayor of the city of New York, and Westchester is doing a proportionate share of that. There are also placements of migrants in Poughkeepsie, in Newburgh, in outside of Albany, in the town of Colony, and some other locations as well. Our job is, as best as we can, to make sure that the residents of this county are not affected in any way in their safety and their health. So we've ensured that there have been no incidents. There have been no incidents with the migrant families that have been with us to date. And there's also a guarantee that all of these individuals are properly vaccinated against a wide variety of diseases, and that too is part of our commitment. The county is doing it. Some of the vaccinations were administered originally when they came into the country. It is a politically debatable issue, and I understand that that is, in a democracy, what happens, but for our purposes, we are managing this situation, and we're trying to manage it well. You may have noticed in the past week that the federal court ruled unconstitutional those counties that had executive orders, most of them did, executive orders barring individuals from being placed in the counties. And of course, I did not do an executive order because I thought that it would be illegal. There was no purpose going down that road for show. So for our purposes, we're managing the issue. We're managing it day to day. We have a meeting coming up right after this to go over what our current status is, and we'll continue to report each week on the status of the issue. We do need the federal government to step up. We need them to provide the opportunity for work visas. These people who are here intend to work. They came to this country to work and better their circumstances, and we want them to be productive and not in a static state day after day. And I've also called for there to be adjudication on an advanced basis in White Plains in an immigrant court at our U.S. District Courthouse. We'll see how that request goes, but the sooner that can be established, the faster these people can have their claims dealt with, and then a final resolution of their case, and then they don't have to be in a motel or hotel with us. They can go wherever they have family in the nation. We'll see how that all plays out, and I'll report to you on that every week. So thank you for watching this long report. We appreciate it. Hopefully you've made a note for Friday, the 21st of July. You'll hear Tony Orlando tie Yellow Ribbon, knock 3 times. Candida was his 3rd big hit. I assume he'll play all 3 of them, and plus a bunch of other songs. Jay and the Americans, the original Jay Black is gone, but if you've ever seen any of these groups that have members of the original group and they have replacements, the replacement performs exactly as the original group sounds. So you can expect somebody with a terrific voice to sing Cara Mia, which is an unbelievable tour de force for a male singer, and I would come just to see that alone. Friday, July 21st. Thank you, Ron Tochi. Thank you, Natasha Caputo. Thank you, Richard Wishney and Susan Spear from our DES, and also Mayor Sarah Bauer from Larchmont. And thank you for watching. I'm George Latimer, County Executive. Have a good day, safe week ahead, and we'll report to you next week.